Welcome to the Battle of Ohio podcast, where we follow the revival of the historic rivalry between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns.
All right, this is episode 24 of the Battle of Ohio podcast. Browns are looking to turn their luck around with a win over the Pittsburgh Steelers, and a punch ticket to their first playoff berth since 2002. The Bengals are playing for pride as they take on the Baltimore Ravens, but with a chance to knock them out of the playoffs just like Andy Dalton did in 2017. We got a guest this week. We got a guest on the podcast this week, a Ravens fan who I'm sure is going to tell me all about how the Bengals have no chance. So say hi, Zach.
What's up, guys?
If there's one thing that the three of us can agree on, though, I think that it's that the Steelers still suck.
That they do.
The Steelers do indeed suck.
Yeah, I third that.
Yeah, they managed to beat the Colts and kind of end their skid, but just barely, just barely. And that's only with like a comeback for the season, like, you know, being down 24-7. But why don't you tell me what you're drinking today, Thomas?
Today I'm keeping the Twisted Tea movement going. We're gonna keep on drinking the Twisted Tea until it is until Sunday is over, because how funny is that, man? How funny is it?
You know what? I desperately hope that Myles Garrett hits Mason Rudolph with a Twisted Tea during the game.
Oh, dude, I can't wait to see Browns fans on Sunday with all their Twisted Tea memes and stuff.
What about you, Zach? What are you drinking?
That blew up. I'm drinking a fine red wine, blueberry flavored from our own vineyard in Bordy, right down the road. And I kept it classy today.
I think this is the second time we've had a second person who's brought not beer on the podcast. I think Thomas brought like vodka or something one time, was it?
Yep, vodka and Crown.
Vodka, yeah. Yeah, he was going pretty hardcore the first couple episodes. Right now, it looks like he's drinking a Coke. That's not beer.
Twisted Tea and Coke, baby.
Fair enough.
I like this guy.
In the spirit of the Bengals Ravens game, I got myself a Tiger beer. Singapore. So I'm gonna drink this, and we're gonna kick the Ravens' ass. That's how it works.
Oh, I sure hope not.
By the way, some non-football news. Orion at Kings Island have been voted best new attraction in America. The roller coaster they just built at Kings Island that's 300 feet tall. Now, I haven't rode it yet, but from what I heard from people it's just an okay coaster.
Is it open?
Special.
What's it called?
Orion. It's the new roller coaster at yeah.
You think I would have heard? I haven't even heard anything about that.
They just built it this year.
Huh.
It's like one of the tallest roller coasters in the world, and they built it in Kings Island.
I literally haven't heard a damn thing about that, which is strange.
Ohio is so close, and I've set foot in there maybe one time.
You are you actually from Baltimore?
Yeah, I'm here, born and raised.
All right, yeah, I went to Baltimore one time on a layover, and
I'm sorry.
No, it was actually awesome. The food was fucking delicious.
Good seafood. I will give you that. Baltimore is known for their crab cakes, and we like to entice free agents for crab cakes. So maybe we can entice a number one receiver this offseason.
Well, maybe that explains how you get all those damn free agents all the time.
Every single time I go to Baltimore, I always think about Art Mandel.
Sorry, bro.
I have a friend that lives in Annapolis, by the way. Annapolis, Maryland.
That's about an hour from here, hour south from here.
Yep. And that was the first time I've been to Baltimore. When I stayed at my friend's house in Annapolis, and then I came back, obviously, for last year's game with the Browns versus Ravens, with the Browns. Oh, Nick Chubb. And then you guys beat us 3 times in a row. So I don't think I'm all close.
Yeah, but it was funny, in the Joe Flacco years, I think we only lost twice to Cleveland. So, it's starting to, you guys are starting to build, and we'll see some losses out of that game.
tell you one thing that's accurate about the Joe Flacco years is you lost quite a few times to my team.
I was about, I was thinking about some talking points for you. And we've matched up several times in Cincinnati and even here in Baltimore in the last game of the season with playoff hopes on the line. And other than 2012 when or 2011, I should say, where we ended up clinching our playoff spot that year, or the division that year in 2011, we have not had good luck over there. 2013, we got knocked out. 2016, we were already out, lost. 2017 didn't happen. They skipped that year for some reason. And Tyler Boyd happened.
Well, you know what? We were going to talk about the Browns first, but since we're already on the topic, my main question that I want to ask you about this Bengals-Ravens game that we got coming up is I want two different answers out of you here real quick.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna make you be objective for a second. Now you're gonna get to have fun with one of the answers, but the other one you gotta be objective. Now I want you to first tell me why the Ravens are gonna kick the Bengals' asses this week. All right. So go ahead.
Honestly, I think the game will be more or less the same as the game was when we met at home, where I think we'll get off to a fast start, but I think we'll start to slow up as that kind of thing happens. I know the last time we matched up, we were up 20-0 at one point before half, and we scored 7 points the rest of the game. So much like the Giants game, I mean, we were up 20 points at half and scored 17 points at half and scored 10 points the rest of the game. I think you'll see more of that. I honestly think the final score will be 30-14. I don't think it'll be an ass kicking, as you say, but I do think the Bengals are going to show that, like, oh shit, they're going to make us nervous for a little bit. But I do think we're going to pull away at the end.
Right. So
I also think the Ravens are going to win.
Fuck you both. But anyway, I think the one encouraging factor that I actually took from the last game, there wasn't much to take that was encouraging at all from that game, but there was the fact that after an absolutely abysmal first quarter, it really looked like if it weren't for the fact that Joe Burrow just couldn't get out of his own head in that game, it really looked like after the first quarter, because the defense started playing so much better, I was starting to think, hey, maybe we could turn this around. Like, that was an awful first quarter, but the next 3 quarters, the defense actually played fairly well throughout the whole game. And if it weren't for just a completely inability to do anything on offense, I was thinking during that game, I was like, maybe this is where we kind of start turning the whole season around, is in the middle of the second quarter of this game. But obviously that didn't happen.
I still think it was Bush that you guys tried to avoid the shutout by kicking a field goal, but
no. I mean, you're not the only one who felt that way. You're not the only one who felt that way. Like, a ton of Bengals fans were pissed at Zach Taylor because of that.
I was over it. I mean, my thing is, like, no one likes to be shut out, especially against a divisional opponent. You do what you got to do. I wasn't mad. I was just messing around. You do what you got to do.
Well, I'm sure, you might have just been messing, but there were some Bengals fans who were pissed at Zach Taylor over that. Like, really?
Bengals fans, really?
Yeah, no, Bengals fans, because Bengals fans, honestly, like, up until maybe the last couple of weeks, Bengals fans have been hating like crazy on Zach Taylor. They want him out of here.
I've seen some posts. I've seen some posts for sure. Yeah. I think Zach Taylor definitely came. I mean, it's going to be like the person who inherits the Texans situation. I think it's the same thing. You got a lot of work to do. So I think that they're definitely moving. Bengals are definitely moving in the positive direction. I think they found their guy. With medicine now, I think ACLs still take as long to recover, but I don't think they're as big of a career ender as they used to be. I think Joe Burrow will come back. Right. Deshaun Watson's had 2, right? Mm-hmm. So he had 1 in college. And he had 1 in the NFL. So, I mean, he looks great. I mean, Lamar, actually, people don't know this about Lamar. Lamar had a torn ACL long before he even got here. So I think it'll definitely be interesting to see how Joe Burrow responds to this. But I think they have the young target, T. Higgins. Whew, guy's a stud. I mean, we'll see what they draft. I think they need to draft offensive line for sure. But their defense looks promising. I mean, you just gotta be patient.
You know, if T. Higgins actually ends up having a really big game against you guys, which is possible because I could be wrong about this, but I heard like on the radio while I was on my way to not on the radio on another podcast while I was on my way to start recording this, that the Ravens actually have a lot of cornerbacks who are going to be out for this game. Is that right?
Possibly. Marcus Peters was a game time decision last week, so we could see him back. Jimmy Smith, I would be surprised if Jimmy Smith played. Marlon obviously is Marlon; he'll be there. But I would be very, very surprised if Jimmy played. But I mean, I wouldn't look past the corners that they put out there, though. Anthony Averett's definitely having a resurgent back half of his season after getting burnt toast the first part of his season. We got some backups who can cover. It's just and then of course we signed Javon Kearse to the old safety out of Minnesota to our practice squad this week. So I'm curious to see if he makes an appearance on the active roster. But I wouldn't count out those corners. Is it Brandon Allen? Is that his name? He's definitely, yeah, he's definitely going to have his hands full with the pass defense. And the pass rush has looked a lot better since Ngakoue came on. Numbers won't say that, won't show that, but as for when you do the eye test and look at the pocket being collapsed, I mean, Baker Mayfield saw it, even though Baker didn't get touched. He was forced into some wild throws a couple weeks ago. And, you know, Brandon Allen's going to have his hands full.
Well, I will say I do think this is going to be an interesting test. Because for the Bengals offensive line, it's going to be an interesting test because do the Ravens have the scariest pass rush in the NFL? No, I don't think so. But I do think they have a pretty good one, even, you know, with, like you said, Yannick Ngakoue, not really, you know, from a just on paper, not really looking like a super productive rusher. But with how much shit this Bengals offensive line has gone through over the course of this year, and with the fact that they've supposedly been getting better over the last like 4 or 5 weeks or so, I think this will be a really good test to see, like, you know, hey, can they really be competitive with, you know, a team that's really solid and not just, you know, go up and dominate against a team like the Titans who have, you know, basically no pass rush, or the Texans who are just, you know, complete shit show when it comes to the defensive line. It's not going to matter for every single person on that offensive line, but it is going to matter to an extent to see, you know, who is worth keeping around, because the prevailing theory across pretty much everybody is that this offensive line is going to go through a absolute overhaul this offseason, as they should. But, you know, you never know with the Bengals. They're kind of stupid sometimes. But they actually, there's a lot of people are saying that that's what the talk is within the Bengals organization, that they are going to take a serious look at overhauling this offensive line. So a game like this is going to be critical to guys like, you know, Bobby Hart, Xavier Su'a-Filo, Quentin Spain, you know, just that, so that there's a sort of a litmus test to see how that how they can kind of come in next year and what role they can potentially have next year. Are they going to be completely replaced, or are these guys you can have stick around as like rotational guys next year, or maybe even like, you know, starters, because we can't replace all 5 starters on offensive line.
And that's kind of in a similar situation where we are, but on the other side of the ball. So you're looking at, we're looking to have to pay close to 3 big names next year. Ngakoue, I think, has 1 more year left, but are we going to extend Ngakoue? Are we going to sign Matt Judon, as he was franchise tagged going into this year? And then, of course, we got the young pass rusher, Tyus Bowser, who has shown that he can even drop back into coverage and, you know, make some big plays there. Thomas knows all about Tyus Bowser, pick him off. So, you know, which lineman are we going to pay? So that, you know, we're looking at, you know, getting that push. You know, are we going to pay Judon? Judon got a safety 2 weeks ago. Are we going to pay Tyus Bowser? Tyus Bowser has 3 interceptions this year. Are we going to pay Ngakoue, who seems to be he's a disruptor. He doesn't have the numbers like he did in Jacksonville or like he did in the early part with Minnesota, but he's disrupting. He's pushing pockets back. He's doing everything he can to make quarterbacks uncomfortable. So which guy are we going to pay? So our corners are all locked up. As I don't know if you heard, Marcus Peters signed a big deal going into this year. Marlon Humphrey signed earlier this year to an extension, and we got Jimmy Smith to a couple $1 million extension today. So now it's just going to be about, what can we put in front of our young linebacking core. So again, this game is going to be another test for us. I do like that ever since Joe Flacco left, we don't seem to play down to our competition. If it's a team that we should beat, we more likely are going to play well, even if we don't win. Cleveland Browns, the first week of the season was a team that we thought week 1 we should beat, and we played well. Houston, we came out of there with a 14-point win because we knew we should play well. So it's teams that are supposed to be closer to the teams that we're having trouble with. So hopefully the trend, knock on wood, the trend stays on, and we get the dub.
All right. Well, hopefully not. But how about – so my second question then, I think you probably know what my second question is where would you say is the area that the Bengals can attack that would actually give them a chance to – why do you think the Bengals might potentially have a chance to beat this Baltimore Ravens team?
Yeah. Oh, you definitely can attack them. I think my one question to you is Joe Mixon still going to be out tomorrow?
No, yeah, he's on IR. He's gone for the season.
He is gone. Okay. That's what I thought. Well, Giovanni Bernard can definitely attack this defense. The Ravens have struggled with receiving running backs. Our linebackers are fast, but they're young and stupid. And I think if they can get the running back, they can get Giovanni Bernard to stretch the field a little bit, make the linebackers play the sideline, get him into the flat. I think they're going to need Giovanni Bernard to get 20 to 25 touches. I know he's not quite that guy, and he's never quite been that guy, because I remember before Joe Mixon, you guys had Jerome Hill and other running backs who have carried the load. And Giovanni's kind of been your third down passing situation back. But honestly, Giovanni Bernard's going to need a lot of touches. Again, the linebacker core is stupid and young.
Well, the way that the way their game plans have kind of been going lately, especially against the Steelers, the idea was, like you said, get Gio the ball because, that game is because Ryan Finley was starting at quarterback, and I don't know if you've paid any attention to the Bengals over the last 2 years outside of playing against the Ravens, but Ryan Finley is special. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, he is special, and not in the way that we describe Patrick Mahomes. So that is correct.
Yeah, he's the other kind of special. But one thing you mentioned was about your linebackers being young and stupid. Patrick Queen did not look young and stupid against the Bengals the last time he played us. However, I have also heard that he hasn't really looked all that great overall this season.
He actually you'll have Ravens fans who say, he's definitely the guy of the future, but, he needs to iron out some kinks. And then you have the other side of the Ravens fans who think Ravens can do no wrong, who thinks he should be defensive rookie of the year. He isn't quite at that level. He plays very well against teams when we are up 12, 15, 3 scores. That's when he plays well. You don't see him against Cleveland. You don't see him against Kansas City. You don't see him against the Steelers. And that's the problem I've had with him this year, is that, against Kansas City, he got benched. Against the Steelers, the first time he got benched. So that's the kind of thing he needs work on. Now, on the other side of the ball for Cincinnati, one of the things that they need to do is pray. Good luck. I don't. They seem to come up with 3 or 4 gadget, new plays every week that, I've never seen in the last 3 years with Lamar Jackson. And all of a sudden it gains 30 yards. They're doing a good job of getting the running backs out into space. So I think the key is that if they have a shot to, tackle Lamar at the line, tackle running back on the line, don't miss. That seems to be what's getting teams, is that, they're missing tackles. So I think with Cincinnati, completing tackles, if they get there, finish. That's going to be the key.
Oh, all right. Well, fair enough. Like I said, obviously we have 2 very different perspectives on what we hope happens at the end of the game. But I think in general, we're both kind of the mindset here that this is going to be a game that the Bengals will definitely need to bring their A game to actually have a chance to win.
Absolutely.
I think in general, most sane people would favor the Ravens in this game, but at the same time, this Bengals team's looked better the last couple of weeks. And I would argue that they haven't looked that much different the last couple of weeks. The main thing that they've been doing better lately is handling adversity when it comes, as opposed to earlier in the season when we lost like probably 5, 6, 7, 8 games that you could say that we really should have won based on the way we were playing. We just fell apart when it mattered. Let's go ahead and move on just for the sake of time. Let's go ahead and move on to the Browns and the Steelers. Now, this game is weirdly similar to the Bengals and Ravens game. Now, obviously, these are not two, the Bengals and Ravens aren't two playoff teams. But then again, the Steelers and Browns might not be either, depending on what happens. But what this is a Steelers team like the Bengals, obviously for different reasons, who are really not playing this week for anything other than respect. Now, for the Steelers, it's because they've already clinched their playoff spot and they don't really have anything left to fight for. The Bengals, it's just because the season's been over forever. Whereas the Browns, like the Ravens, are fighting for their playoff lives. Thomas, what are your thoughts on this game? How do you feel that the you're facing off against Mason Rudolph, so you can't be that nervous. But then again, you did just lose to the Jets.
Dude, first of all right, two things I need to address. First of all, everybody's knocking the Browns for losing to the Jets. All right, cool. But everybody who knocks the Browns about losing to the Jets don't talk about how they had to sit out 6 players less than 24 hours before the game time. So you had to completely change your game plan before game time, and people are finally coming around to admitting that that Freddie Kitchens was not a good coach last year. Excuse me. And one of the reasons why Freddie Kitchens wasn't a good coach last year is because he used to change the game plan the day before game time, and that would throw the whole team momentum off. And everybody admitted that that should throw the whole team momentum off. Well, hey, we get COVID the night before the game. We got to catch a midnight flight to New York. This might throw off a whole entire game plan, even though we're playing the Jets, just still an NFL team, and we are depleted on our offensive line, our defensive line. We have no receivers. Everybody's like, "No, you'll be fine. You're playing against the Jets." And when we lose to the Jets, but less than a touchdown, never mind. That's not here or there. Moving forward this weekend, the fact of the matter is the Browns win this weekend are in playoffs. We got to address. We can't talk about the Browns without addressing the COVID issues that they're having. They're still having through the building. Currently, Harrison Bryant has been activated off the IR. That's our safety, so he'll be back this week. The players that have tested positive for COVID all have already been isolated, so they believe there have been no new contact of COVID, which means that we as of now, as of Thursday, New Year's Eve, 2020, the last day of 2020, there are only all the receivers are off the COVID list. The only people that's on the COVID list is Harrison Bryant and BJ Goodson, I believe. Yeah. So
Harrison Bryant and Malcolm Smith tested positive for COVID-19.
Yeah.
BJ Goodson, which will probably miss the game just because of close contact.
Well, BJ Goodson, he had it. He already tested positive though, right? Yeah, he tested positive last weekend, and this was he tested positive last weekend, and they said that the receivers who were in close contact with him, it said something about them being a hot tub. Now I'm not sure if that's a true rumor or not. They said it on NFL on CBS or NFL on Sunday Night Football. One of the sports news people was talking about it. They got in contact with a hot tub. Hopefully that's not true. Hopefully y'all weren't all taking a hot tub bath together.
They're with Dwayne Haskins.
What's that?
Man, it's so Browns. It's so Browns. Hey, I was in close contact. Oh, what'd you do? What happened? You tackled him too hard or something? He tackled you? No, we all got in a hot tub together. Like, yeah, come on, y'all. Anyway, I think they should be fine going to Sunday. As long as they stay focused. The thing that the receivers have all been activated off the COVID list today, so that's good news. None of them tested positive. The thing that I like about the Browns this year is always the coach. every single time the Browns got punched in the mouth, and every single game, Zach, you've seen it in a game when they play against the Ravens. Every single time this team get down or they look like they're ready to quit, they get back on their feet and they fight hard and do whatever they can to come back. And this team got so much fight in them. I don't see this team laying dead to a team they're gonna be motivated against, because this team got a lot of bad blood on Mason Rudolph. They don't like.
Thomas, I want to tell you, man. Like, they started showing that fight when Odell went out, so they might want to consider trading Odell for some high value to put that team over the top next year.
Okay.
Well, that trade worked out great, didn't it?
No, go ahead, Cal. What are you saying?
No, that's all I had to say. That trade worked out great for you guys, didn't it?
Worked out great.
I remember when that happened. I was laughing my ass off. I'm like, they have no clue what they're getting into, do they? They think Odell Beckham.
Here's my thing, man. I want to say this. I love Odell Beckham as a personality, as a receiver. I think he's a great dude. All that good stuff. I think he's hilarious. I think him smacking the butt of a police officer was funny as hell. But let me be real with you. It is obvious that this team is playing a lot better without him than with him. And trading him is almost becoming a no-brainer. And I hate saying that because I like Odell a lot. But, you got this kid down. Yeah. You can't ignore how much better Baker's playing without him. You can't ignore how much.
I'm telling you, Thomas, if we can trade a 5th rounder and a linebacker that didn't play for Marcus Peters, you guys can get something for Odell. That's all I'm saying.
So, Thomas, how do you guys avoid? Now you did this with the Ravens, so obviously you guys are a different team than you were earlier in the year. But like the Ravens blew you out at the beginning of the year, and then you came in and you had a very close, good game with them the second time around. Now, how do you repeat that with the Steelers? Because the Steelers also kicked your asses last time that you played them. And coming off a loss to the Jets, this is not just a playoff game. This is a respect game. This is you guys not only need to win this game, but you need to win this game, and you need to win it good. Because if you don't, there's going to be a lot of questions going into the offseason. Or going into the playoffs.
I mean, let them question. I mean, just win the game. I don't care if I win the game close. I don't care if I win the game by 1 point. I don't care if I win the game by half a point. Just win the game. That's how I feel about it. Because personally, I think that people going to talk no matter what. Media's going to talk no matter what. What you got to do is, at the end of the day, you got to make sure you put a cherry on top of this season and make sure you make the playoffs. But this team have not made the playoffs since 2001. And people, and that storyline is so overwhelmingly important that if they win this weekend, everybody forget about the Jets' loss. I think coming into this game against the Steelers, though, when I look at those first 5-6 weeks of the season, when the Browns played the Ravens and they played the Steelers, they were still trying to find their identity. Plus, we didn't have Nick Chubb that game, but also the Browns are still trying to find their identity. They're still trying to learn an offense. Every single week, the Browns have been getting better and better as a team. They talked about that, improving every single week. And this is not the same team week 1. It's not the same team week 6. It's not the same team week 12. And this team is improving every single game. They're finding ways to improve in different areas, even if it is playing without any of their starting receivers the night before a game. They're still finding ways to improve little things. And Kevin Stefanski is learning on his job. And I think that now you got your full offensive line back. You got Wyatt Teller coming back. You got Jedrick Wills coming back, so you're going to have more protection of Baker now. And with your receivers coming back, I think they should be fine. They should be good. It should be good. I'm not. The biggest thing the Browns got to do is just stay healthy. And when I say stay healthy, I mean stay away from the COVID. Do not get the vid. Stay away from the vid. The vid is bad. Vid is bad.
Yeah, I definitely think this is a big game for the Browns. I mean, you're right. This is a respect game. I mean, they make the playoffs and they go one and done. No, that's not going to be much of a storyline. It's going to be like, all right, this team is here. They made the playoffs. They got over that hump. Let's see what they can do going forward. Yeah. They don't make the playoffs after all this. I mean, yeah, people are going to look at that Jets game. People are going to comment on Baker Mayfield. People are going to comment on, is he really the franchise guy, which I personally think he is. The throws he can, his arm talent and his mentality are franchise caliber. He's got the intangibles to be a franchise guy, and he's got the tangibles to be a franchise guy. So I think you're going to see a lot more of those questions if they do lose to, honestly, they're going to lose to a B team if they at home, if they lose to the Steelers today or tomorrow, Sunday. They're, without TJ Watt, without Mike Hinton, without Marquise Pouncey, Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, that's a game that, like, you look at that, and of course, with the Browns getting their receivers back, you got to win that game.
Not to mention, if you lose that game, you have to watch Mason Rudolph's smug face. Don't do that for all of our sakes. Nobody wants to see Mason Rudolph. Not even Mason Rudolph's mom wants to see Mason Rudolph be smug about winning in the NFL. Don't please.
I've never seen Mason Rudolph look in a mirror, so I'm just saying. I don't think that's coincidental.
He probably does a lot, actually. He strikes me as like a
very vain dude.
Nah, let me not say that. I feel like I would have roast this dude. I would have roast this dude all the time, but I can't say what I want to say because I always think to myself, this is gonna sound weird, guys, but I always think, man, what if I get famous one day? I do not want them to come back and find an old video of me roasting somebody.
You, you're gonna run for president of the United States in 20 years, and they're gonna point to this podcast about how you were all smug to Mason Rudolph, and Mason Rudolph's gonna be like some big NFL bigwig, and yeah, man.
I don't think I ever want to run for president ever. I don't think if I had all the money in the world, I definitely want to run for president.
If I had all the money in the world, I'd leave.
True.
Deuces. We ain't staying here.
Where you gonna go? You ain't go Mars? Hey, I'm the richest person on earth.
Sure.
So this is Mars, bitch.
Whatever.
A lot of like knew up on Mars. But yeah, so Browns, like I said, you got to win this one, or it's going to be a lot like last year, because there was everybody was like, oh, the Browns, they're like the cheeky kind of cute team to pick to maybe make a Super Bowl run next year, and then they won like 6 games, or maybe I don't even remember how many they won last year, but that's the whole point. And then if you miss the playoffs this year, it's like all that hype for nothing yet again. But if you do make the playoffs, then I feel like even if you lose in the first round this year, it's okay. Now you can't do like the Bengals did and lose in the first round like 5 fucking years in a row. You can't do that. But
or even what the Ravens are doing right now, man, you got to win this year.
Right.
You got. I mean, I'm not saying because honestly, I don't want the Browns to be one and done. I'm just saying for as of right now, I don't think that anybody in Berea at all should be talking about playoffs until they win.
Oh, I mean, they're going to match up against a team like Tennessee or Buffalo. No one, no one's going to be mad at them.
Week 15, people were talking about Kevin Stefanski as a possible head coach of the year candidate to losing in the first round, and suddenly, this is just terrible and the world's ending. You can't do that. I'm just saying that a lot of the same conversations are going to be happening.
And it's Browns being Browns. I think, years ago, couple, even 3-4 years ago, Browns were that like, hey, let's place $10 on the Browns and see if we can win 20,000. You know what I mean? Like that was one of those things that you did. Now going forward, they're starting to get better and they're starting to become more respectable. So like, losing this game, it legit would reinforce the classic stereotype of Browns are always going to Brown.
I got to push back on that. Cause it's not you. It's more or less my own fan base. Is that Browns fans? One thing that really frustrates me about Browns fans is that all I'm seeing on Twitter and Facebook about Browns fans is, oh, what if we lose Sunday? Like, what the hell is wrong with y'all people, man? What the hell is wrong? Like, I never wake up in the morning thinking, what if I lose today? I always that's a loser's mindset.
Agree.
Frustrates me. It frustrates. This is why I'm moving out of Cleveland very soon. I'm moving out of Cleveland very soon. And I love this city. I love the people here, but y'all got to lose their mindset. I can't stand that. I never think, what if I lose? I never play a game, what if I lose? There's been times where I played video games or I did something and somebody was like, oh, I'm the best at this. It's like, so I'm still going to beat you. if I lose, I'm still gonna keep my head up. But I don't ever think before I start any fight, any battle, any game, or anything. I never think to myself, what if I lose? I always
Mike
think,
Tyson going
what's
into
gonna
a
happen?
fight. I'm gonna
What's
lose.
gonna happen when I win? Yeah, man, like nobody does that. Nobody, like, come on, man. Like, y'all need to stop saying that, man. Like,
I
Browns
sure as
fans
heck
gotta,
aren't doing
like,
that.
I heard this is somebody on the radio. We're not going, I like him. He's a good dude. But he tweeted, what if the Browns lose? If the Browns lose, they're gonna rip them all off season. Why are you talking like that? Like, why is that your mindset right now? Do you expect you? It's almost like you expect them to lose. That's that same Brown. That you don't get. The only thing that's cursed in Cleveland is Cleveland's mindset. Who cares what people say? Who cares what people have to say? If you have the talent to win the game, go win the game. And I believe the Browns have the talent. I think that the mindset of Kevin Stefanski, he's the coach that Cleveland deserves, but not the coach that Clevelanders want because they're too freaking dumb to realize what's in front of them. What's going to happen is the Browns going to go out Sunday. They're going to win Sunday. And then Browns fans are going to they're going to get hype. And then all the hype is going to be back. And then they're going to lose like first, second round of playoffs. But that's not here or there. I just think that all the stuff that y'all been saying about the Browns after they beat the Titans, that's the team that we have. And all that stuff is true. They lost a close game because they had COVID issues. That's what it is. That's what it was.
We can't
beat
the
Titans this weekend.
Who are we to talk? We can't beat the Titans. We can't figure them out. And I think, like, the Jets went into that game. They didn't think, we're going to lose. They thought they were going to win. Same with, Jets played the Rams. They don't care about getting Trevor Lawrence. They
exactly.
They want to win.
So, athletes, man, you don't think that.
And it's funny because, the Jets fans, they sicken me on their Twitter, just blaming the Jets or whatever. But, like, I'm with the players on this one, man. They aren't playing to lose. They're not playing for Trevor Lawrence. They don't care about a guy who isn't on their team. They could care less. So I think, as fans, we, going in there with that mindset, let's win this game. And if you don't, you don't. But, you go in there and you say, let's win this game and see what we can do in the next round. And I think that's what the Browns are going to say. The Browns players are going to say, let's get this win, see what we can do next.
Yep, I agree. I like this guy. I like this guy a lot.
I'm pretty well liked.
Let's go ahead and move on to our last segment of the podcast, which is the state of the AFC North. And we've already talked about both these teams because, they're playing both of our teams so far. But what we can talk about is we can talk about what the playoffs potentially look like. If the Ravens lose, then, I can't remember. If the Ravens lose, is that a guarantee that they don't make the playoffs?
No, so apparently if Colts or Browns lose and we lose, then we're okay. We have the tiebreaker over. We beat the Colts 24-10 in week 9 this year in Indy, so that was a good win. And then we beat the Browns twice this year, so we do have the tiebreaker with similar records. We are all 10-5 going into this week.
I think they're gonna be okay.
So if you do beat the Bengals, then you're either going to be the number 5 or the number 6 seed. There's no chance for the number 7 seed. But if you lose and then you
don't think we have a
playoffs due to technicalities, then you get the number 7 seed.
Yeah, I don't think we have a chance for 7. It's going to be 5 or 6. Yep.
Right. Yeah. Well, if you win, if you lose and you still make the playoffs, it'll be with the number 7 seed.
It'll be most like now if the Browns beat the Steelers. I mean, that's something when the Browns beat the Steelers. We honestly could be looking at any of the 3 opponents, depending on how the game ends. If the Bills are able to use their backups to beat the Dolphins, then we won't see Buffalo, and we'll see a rematch between Tennessee.
Who would you prefer to see?
I want Titans, baby. I want to beat them. I want all this crap that we can't beat the Titans out the window because I think that's baloney. We can beat the Titans. The first game the first in the playoff game last year, we were in that mode where and that's why I hate being the 1 seed, 14-2. You win 12 straight games going into the playoffs. All the mindsets, especially of a young team, is going to be like, we're the best. We can't be beat. We can do whatever. And we can't be beat. Well, that's hogwash. And the second game, honestly, we blew it at the end. So you know what? I think I want Tennessee. We're going to go in there and we're going to win. I want Tennessee. That's
Zach, what you're saying is Browns, Ravens, AFC championship rematch.
Yeah, man.
Is that what you're saying?
Come to the bank, baby.
Well,
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Put us in that 7 seed. Put us in that 7 seed. Let's beat the Bills.
The Titans. So
let's beat the Bills. Let's beat the Chiefs, and then let's beat the.
Now, if the Dolphins win due to tiebreakers, they will get the 5 seed. They have the better conference record. So if the Dolphins win and we win, we would get the 6 seed and most likely see the Steelers or Buffalo. So I think the Tennessee game would be out the window. Tennessee, if I'm looking correctly, I have the schedule up here. Yeah, Tennessee is also 10-5. So yeah, Buffalo has 12 wins. So so basically, it's pretty much between if we win and Buffalo loses, then we're playing Buffalo. If we win and Buffalo wins, and it doesn't matter what the Steelers do, then we're going to see Pittsburgh.
Doing playoff algebra over here.
Yeah, man.
Call me crazy.
Now, if the Dolphins lose and we win, then we're going to see Tennessee, or Colts, depending on who wins that division. So,
call me crazy, but I think I'd rather, for me as a Browns fan, the 2 teams that I want to play is either the Colts or in the first round, or Buffalo. I think the Browns can beat Buffalo. I think the Browns can beat Buffalo. I think that's a possibility.
Buffalo scares me, man. Their defense doesn't scare me, but their offense is an offense that if you go down 14-0 early, it doesn't matter how bad their defense is.
That is true.
And even then, their defense is good enough to kind of back up.
Our defense was good enough last year, and I feel like Buffalo and Ravens, not the way they do things. Because obviously our offenses were very different between 2019 and this year. But I think Buffalo, the way their teams are stacked up is we were awesome at running the ball. We were okay at passing. They're meh at running and really good at passing. And both of our defenses were good enough to supplement the offense. But what's going to happen when you take away the one-dimensional offense? And when it gets to the playoff times, you can take away Buffalo's one-dimensional offense, but if you can't, and that's why with the Browns, Thomas, I'm afraid that the Browns can't take away their passing attack. I don't think
Buffalo will be able to stop. I don't think Buffalo has the dogs to stop our running game.
That's true, and that's another thing that I said. You go into Buffalo and. I mean, Lamar actually in 2019 we had a tough one against Buffalo that year.
Yeah.
Lamar still threw 3 touchdown passes, but again, the only reason why we won was because Josh Allen wasn't Josh Allen.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Buffalo could. I don't think because when we talk about let me start talking playoffs right now. We got to win Sunday. We got to beat the race. I mean, we got to beat the.
We got to get through Sunday. We got to get through.
We got to beat Mason Rudolph. I ain't talking playoffs right now. I'm talking Sunday. We got to beat Mason Rudolph.
Speaking of,
you're going down, Mason.
Speaking of Mason Rudolph, to wrap it up, that's pretty much what the state of the Steelers is right now. They clearly don't even care if they win or lose because they're not just resting Ben Roethlisberger. They're resting T.J. Watt. They're resting. They announced 4 or 5 guys who aren't even playing.
Mike Hinton,
right?
Yep.
So that, but I mean, the part of the reason for that is because they will either be the number 2 or the number 3 seed. There's no number 4 seed. There's no number 1 seed. So at that point, it's really just about do you play against the number 5 or the number 6 seed in the playoffs, which. Right now, we don't even have any clue who those are going to be because there's so much craziness going on with those wild card seeds. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know how I remembered all those matchups. I guess because I'm looking at that. But honestly, whenever I look at the Ravens playoff scenario, it gives me a giant headache.
I can imagine. But anyway,
by the way, I was at that game. By the way, last year between the Browns and the Steelers with the helmet game, yeah. I was very intoxicated off my ass because it was cold as. What out there? It was so cold. And I was sat in the mezzanine, and I actually sat in the end zone right behind where Myles Garrett hit Mason Rudolph in the head with the helmet. But when I looked at it, I was so drunk, and I was also pretty far away. I thought that Myles Garrett just punched him. It didn't register in my drunk head that this man actually took his helmet off and hit him upside the head with it.
Yeah, that was a Twisted Tea helmet.
Yeah, nobody. Well, the thing was they didn't show the replay of it on this because they didn't show the replay of it on the scoreboard, so people couldn't. You know how you see stuff in football and then you look at the scoreboard to see if you've seen what you thought
They
you
don't
seen.
show any of the fights or any of that stuff. They're
yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of sucked because I was really trying to figure out what happened and like I didn't really know, and I was too drunk and cold to look down my phone. So I didn't know until I got until I got into the train on my way home, and I was getting all these texts like, "Dude, that was crazy!" Like, what? Yeah, the fight, yeah, it was cool. You're like, "No, he don't wear a helmet. You didn't see the helmet, dude." I was like, "He don't wear a helmet. What? Really?" Shoot,
Maybe we'll see.
I remember that.
I prefer watching it at home when it gets cold out there, man. I'll go to September games all day, but you know what? I'm gonna stay right here in the comfort of my home where I can see the helmet hitting the guy in the head.
I back when I played football, I think the sub 32-degree games were always the most absolutely painful ones. Because I mean, when you get when that helmet smacks you, it's hard for that headache to go away in that kind of weather.
I can only imagine. I was gonna say playing. I'm a soccer player, but playing soccer in the cold, man. When you got hit, yeah. As a goalkeeper, just catching those shots sometimes, man, like your hands hurt the whole rest of the game.
I wouldn't know. I only played goalkeeper in indoor soccer.
That's worse.
And, I don't think I ever got hit by the ball when I was in the cold weather. But then again, most of the year was. I think mostly we played in the summer, to be honest. So
yeah, and but I played in a December league this year, so that was. Ugh.
Yeah, well, I haven't played soccer since I was 12, so I guess that's probably part of the difference. But anyway, like I said, I think we got a predictions episode due after this, and we're starting to run a little bit over time here. So thanks for listening to the Battle of Ohio podcast, everybody. You can find me on Twitter at KylePhelps92 and on Facebook.com/ThePhelps. Thomas, you can find him at T_star94 on Facebook or on Twitter and Instagram, and he's got a YouTube page called Blowdown Page. Do you want to announce where people can follow you, Zach, or do you not?
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter, B Colgan6, not Z, but B as in boy, B Colgan6. Facebook, you can just find me, Zach Colgan, baby. I'm pretty much like one of the only ones. You'll see my big mug right on there.
Colgan, how do you spell Colgan?
COL. GAN.
All right, fantastic. B Colin. Yep, I got you. B Colin6.
Yep.
Got you. I'm following you right now.
Great.
There you go.
So I'll all sports.
Anything that you want to promote while you're here? Anything you want to drop?
No, not really. Just the fact that I love talking sports. So if anyone wants to have me on, I mean, I'm NBA, NFL, MLB, soccer, you name it. I can talk it. So let's do it.
Are the Cavs for real at 3-1?
Nope. Okay, I will say this. They get another.
Nope. You're done. You said everything you need to say.
You get Colin Sexton a comparable 2-guard, and we'll see what happens.
All right.
Yeah, you're right.
So that's gonna do it for this episode, everybody. I'll leave you with a hooday.